Hello and welcome, everyone. A special welcome to all the students from Europe Hotel School joining us today. You're in exactly the right place. We're about to take a concept that some people see as just a sales trick and transform it into a genuine 5-star service skill, one that can truly define your career in luxury hospitality.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to completely redefine what it even means to sell in a luxury environment. Then, we'll dive into why knowledge is your superpower. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, the psychology of suggestion, and I'll give you some practical techniques you can start using tonight. And finally, we'll wrap up with the most important piece of the puzzle, integrity. This is your roadmap, really, to mastering a skill that will set you apart. So let's jump right in. The very first thing we have to do is completely shift our mindset about selling. Look, in a luxury hotel, we're not just pushing products. Not at all. We're in the business of building relationships and earning trust.
In this slide, it just breaks it down perfectly. On one hand, you have upselling. That word just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, right? It brings up ideas of pressure, of just trying to make the check bigger. But on the other hand, you have suggestive selling, and that is where we live. This is all about enhancing an experience, sharing your expertise, and adding real, genuine value. We're taking the focus off the bill and putting it squarely on the guest's experience. And that, right there, is the absolute heart of it. Because when you do this right, it doesn't feel like selling at all. It feels like a thoughtful recommendation from a trusted expert. You're just helping your guest create an amazing memory. That's the real goal.
So how do you become that person, that trusted expert? Well, it all starts with one thing, knowledge. It's so simple, but so true, you absolutely cannot suggest what you don't know. You have to be the expert in the room. So let's talk about what that looks like. And listen, we're talking about going way beyond just memorizing the menu here. You need to know the story behind every single dish. Where did these tomatoes come from? Can you actually tell the story of that small family-owned vineyard that produces the Chardonnay on your list? Can you explain why the specific botanicals in a certain gin make it a perfect match for a cocktail? See, that's the level of knowledge that builds real confidence and turns you into a true consultant. And this is so important. Always, always give the reason why. It's what builds your credibility. It proves that your recommendation is coming from a place of expertise, not just from a desire to sell something more expensive. That little bit of explanation, it completely changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? That's the shift we're aiming for. You're no longer just taking an order. You've become a guide, a consultant. You're an essential part of the guest's experience. And believe me, that is a powerful place to be. Okay, so you've done the work, you've got the knowledge down pat. Now for the fun part, how to actually use it. The psychology of suggestion is really a dance between language and timing. If you can get those two things right, your suggestions will feel natural, helpful, and incredibly effective. Just look at the difference here. A weak, closed-ended question like, "Would you like an appetizer?" Well, that just makes it super easy for the guest to say, "Nope," and the conversation ends. But when you use descriptive, evocative language, you're painting a picture in their mind. You're not just offering a dessert, you're offering an experience. You're triggering their senses, and that makes the suggestion almost irresistible. And timing. Timing is everything. Your suggestions have to feel natural, not like you're just running through a checklist. So focus on these 3 peaks of the guest's journey. Right at the beginning, with an aperitif to set the tone. In the middle, with a possible enhancement for the main course. And then at the end, that natural transition to coffee, digestives, or dessert. These are your windows of opportunity where a suggestion feels helpful, not pushy. Okay, let's get even more practical. I'm going to show you a couple of specific go-to techniques you can use to elevate your guest's experience. We're going to zero in on 2 core methods here. First is trading up, which is all about offering choices, and the second is the add-on, which is suggesting a beautiful ingredient to make a great dish even better. Both of these are total game changers when you use them thoughtfully. And here is a perfect example of trading up. Instead of just assuming they want the standard house gen, you offer a choice. You know what this does? It empowers the guest. It gives them control and makes them aware of a superior option they might genuinely love but didn't even know was available. Now, this is a big one, so listen up. This is non-negotiable. Integrity demands transparency. It doesn't matter if it's a premium spirit or a shaving of fresh white truffle, you have to be open and honest about any additional cost. A surprise on the final bill, that bill shock, is the fastest way to destroy every ounce of trust you've just worked so hard to build. And that brings us perfectly to our final and honestly our most important section, integrity. This is it. This is what separates the true professionals from everyone else. It's the secret ingredient to earning real, lasting guest loyalty. You know, the mark of a true luxury professional is the confidence to know when enough is enough. It's about having the expertise to recognize that a guest has already ordered plenty or that another dish might actually detract from their enjoyment. Your real job at the end of the day is to protect their overall experience. This technique is sometimes called downselling, and let me tell you, it is one of the most powerful tools in your entire arsenal. When you advise a guest against overordering, you are proving, without a doubt, that their happiness is your #1 priority. That single moment builds more trust than anything else, and it's what turns a first-time visitor into a lifelong regular. It's what gets you those glowing 5-star reviews online, and that is priceless. Because ultimately, it all boils down to this. A guest who feels like they were taken advantage of, they're never coming back. But a guest who feels they were expertly guided towards an even better experience than they imagined, they leave feeling inspired. They become a return guest. And a return guest is, hands down, the single most valuable asset in our entire industry.
So, I'll leave you with this final question to think about. Are you just serving a meal, or are you crafting an experience? The way you answer that will truly shape the future of your career in hospitality. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all the very best.